imagine living in a world, you're a woman, and you're living in a world where you have to walk out of the house to wash your clothing in the stream because you have no running water. Forget about having a maid or someone. Just imagine if you had to do that. Now imagine if you're a woman who's not living in a world where you have all the amenities, and you're looking at your biggest challenge is whether or not you're going to have fiber optic connection to your home for internet versus, let's say, having cable or a DSL link. Imagine the reality of this person versus the other person. It's pretty, I mean, I can't, and luckily for you guys, you can't either, which is good, all right? But that's what I'm trying to say is your reality is radically different, okay? But to kind of make sense out of that, we as a community have to come up with a sense of, we have to come up with criteria, we have to come up with indicators and so forth. And so when we talk about the human condition, okay, all right, we need to come up with what in many cases, the UNDP loves their indexes, okay? Human Development Index. Everybody, I mean, I'm sure Professor Charles would agree, we as researchers love our indicators. We need to decide, okay, when we come up with these baskets of goods and services, in this case measurements, that tell us something. That we, and it's not just because Professor Charles says, let there be an HDI, or Professor Uma says, let there be a GNP, right? It's not that easy. Maybe if this was like the Roman, let's say we were on Mount Olympus, and we could just basically tell them mere mortals what we want them to do, but we don't do that. We live in a society that we have to come up with some sort of agreement, right? So what we have here is you have a set of, well, first of all, human needs, okay? We got to agree that there's certain things that people need, okay? So we have to we got to agree on those things. Basic physical, social, and political requirements needed for survival and security, all right? Survival and security. Now, what do you think, would you be more worried about survival or security, more worried about security or survival? Survival. A mother looking to get food for her child is not going to worry about the tiger that's lurking around the corner. She's going to be looking to find food that she can try to get to so she can bring back for her kid, right? Once her kid has food, then she can, once they have shelter over their head, once they have food on the table, then she's going to worry about what? Security. Or your father, the kind of jobs he takes, right? I mean, why would people work in coal mines around the world? You work in coal mines because you don't work. You ignore the realities of getting some sort of cancer, lung cancer, because that's the job you need to do to put food on the table. So what we have here in terms of human development, what we got going here is we have this kind of index, which is a basket of measurement that tells us whether or not gives us a sense of human development within a particular country. And it goes from 0 to 1. Obviously 1 would be really good, would be perfect, and 0 would be totally imperfect, right? Now, and what it does, this would be a good exam question. This would be a good exam question. The HDI, Human Development Index, combines life expectancy, literacy, income, and years of education. So the community of practitioners that actually measure human development have pretty much decided, okay, that these 4 types of measurements give us a sense that their combination of, okay, gives us a level of human development in that particular society. Assumption being that if your life expectancy high, you have a high literacy rate. You guys know what literacy rate is, right?
Yes.
Okay? You have a high level of income, high years of education, okay? That there's also some implied and direct relationships here, right? Because let's not forget that these things shouldn't be just treated as separate, okay? Meaning that the more money, or let's say the more education you have, the more likely you are to do what? Either make more money or get to choose what kind of job you want. Okay? More money gives you access to health care. Access to health care lets you diagnose whether or not you have, you can afford having a mammogram for your needs, right? So you get mammograms. Well, you guys may know that at some point, when you become, when you're older, there's this, like my wife, for example, has to have a mammogram every year, right? So the point is, but having that helps you to do what? Predict whether or not you may have cancer, correct? So, but not everybody has that luxury. But if you have the money, then you have access. So these things, and actually what people would suggest, and this is something that, in terms of, it's a better measure than GNP. Because what does GNP stand for? Gross National Product, or GDP, Gross Domestic Product. Now, the point is this. If a country is doing well economically, its GDP or GNP is rising. Now, does that tell us whether or not the people in that country are better off?
No, not really.
Why not?
Because it doesn't indicate how the overall country is doing.
Okay, it doesn't tell us who's benefiting from the growth, right? That is, how is that growth distributed within society? Who's getting the pie? Okay, how is that pie distributed within society? So you could be experiencing tremendous GDP growth, but if it's only going to 3 or 4% of the society, okay, then that tells us maybe or 10% of society, 10% is doing pretty well, but the other 90%, okay, may not be doing as well, okay, or certainly not doing as well, okay? So HDI is a good predictor. Another thing which there's a tremendous amount of discussion on, and that is for human development to occur, okay, there's got to be some kind of, and they say prereqs or preconditions. That is there an assumption that the